Welcome to Off the Cut, a podcast where we talk about building, making,
and answering all of your questions.
I'm Eric from Spenceley Design Co.
And I'm Zach from Zach Builds. If you have a question that you would like us to answer on air, you can send it to offthecutpodcast@gmail.com.
You can find both of us on YouTube, Instagram, and unfortunately, because we have to keep up with kids, you can find us on TikTok too.
All right, now let's get into the show.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the soothing sounds of episode 54 of Off the Cut Podcast. Could you even hear that in the mic?
No, I could hear that perfectly.
Oh.
That was great.
Okay, we're up in Toronto. Today is known as Tuesday, February 28th, 2023. But here in the soothing state of Ohio, today is respectfully dedicated to the food of the day, pancakes.
I did not see that reversal coming. Yeah, I think we're looping on food of the days for some reason, right? We did pancakes.
Let me see. Food of the day. Honestly, whoever's running this, not sponsored, nationaltoday.com.
Mm-hmm.
How about we pick yesterday's food?
Okay. I like the sound of that.
Kahlua.
Oh, wow. That's product placement if ever I heard it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, this website 100% has to be run by like affiliates or product placement or something.
For sure. I wonder if whoever's running that website then turns around and uses our show as an example of how good their product placement is. Like, see, we're getting you guys all these views on the Off the Cut podcast.
Uh-huh. Yeah. It was a reverse business model.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah.
Don't know what they're doing.
Look, I just want to say, what was the name of the website?
Nationaltoday.com.
Okay, nationaltoday.com. We are expecting our check in the mail.
Well, they're probably expecting a check from us.
Oh, yeah, I guess so, eh?
Do we have legal representation for using their content?
Yes.
Huh. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so actually that kind of brings me into a weird topic. Do you have like any sort of lawyer on call for like your social media stuff?
You know, I don't.
Yeah, neither do I. I have an accountant and I have
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. I just having a lawyer on call who could deal with stuff might be a good idea. Cuz like I have one for my construction business, but nothing for the social media stuff. And I do worry a little bit about liability at times. You know, like say you make a video and you do something wrong on the table saw and then somebody at home imitates what you did wrong on the table saw. Are you then liable in some weird way?
No, I mean, it's perfectly valid. So like if you don't care to divulge this, that's fine. Is your content business structured as like a sole proprietor or are you an LLC?
No, sole proprietor.
Likewise.
Yeah, my accountant's advice was, she gave me like a dollar figure. She was like, until you hit this amount, don't bother spinning up a corporation.
That's what I was told as well, just for the content. Yeah. And again, we're not lawyers. We're not giving you guys legal advice. We're just telling you what we are set up as. But
see, that's good. That's good. You're covering your ass. That's good liability management.
But yeah, I know. I forget who I was talking to at the festival event a couple weeks ago, but we were talking about this, and somebody it might have been Jason Bent. I don't remember who I was talking to, but they're like, yeah, my like lawyer or like my insurance person was like, yeah, we won't give you business insurance unless you put a disclaimer in your like description of your YouTube videos that like, you know, whatever, this video is for educational purposes only, like something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mark was the first person, Mark from Remarkable Woodworks was the first person to turn me on to having business insurance for social media stuff. I was like, why do you have that? And he was like, oh, this reason, that reason. I was like, oh, damn, I need to go do that, don't I?
Yeah. I've had so much stuff like this last week. I've come across a lot of just like extra things that I've needed to do like financially.
Yeah.
With like now that I have either the day job income and this income, it's put me in like a precarious tax situation where I was like, oh, well, I thought I was eligible to basically make certain financial moves, but now because of the extra income, like I'm not. So like I filed all my taxes and my accountant's like, oh, you need to go change all of this stuff because you're
interesting.
in bucket. And I was like, damn. So
Yeah.
I had to do all this kind of stuff and that kind of stuff. And now it probably isn't a terrible idea to look into business insurance for a social media business just in case.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I remember Mark telling me how much he paid. It was not that much money. Because, I mean, again, you're not really dealing with massive liability. I wonder if there are any instances out there of like a, quote unquote influencer or content creator being sued because of something they did.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't sell physical products to people.
No, neither do I.
And so I don't know. My uneducated answer is, well, people are just watching my video. Like that'd be the equivalent of like, I mean, can I sue NBC for like watching people do like that? You ever like those shows where they like run obstacle courses and stuff?
Sure.
I'm like, well, I tried it and I broke my leg.
Or, I watched the latest Tom Cruise movie where he jumps a motorcycle off a cliff.
Right.
And then I went into I broke my leg. I can't sue Tom Cruise. Like, that's ridiculous. So,
speaking of gamble, I want to continue this conversation, but I want to play a new game.
what is this?
So,
what's in the mystery bag?
It's a mystery bag. Inside this bag, it's like a cooler bag.
Okay.
Inside of the bag, I have 3 beverages.
Oh.
2 seltzer waters and 1 beer.
Okay.
So I'm gonna look in and see what I can get.
Okay. Okay.
I'm really hoping I get what I want.
Oh,
Seltzer water. Okay. Well, I have to keep drinking to get that beer out. The best thing is I'll always get it.
Yeah. No
But
matter what,
anyways.
that beer is getting drunk tonight.
Right. It might just be the after show.
That's right.
But speaking of, like, you're talking about the Tom Cruise movie and stuff and people just seeing you do silly stuff. Once you get to a big enough level, I would not put it past the likelihood of just running across some Yahoo that's just like, oh, this Zach guy, I'm going to sue him. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of comes with the territory. Once you get big enough, there's always going to be people who kind of see you as a target or like an easy way to make money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, eventually you will get Me Too'd. Yeah, right? It's going to happen eventually.
I'm going to get canceled because during this last video that I put out, I did an ad for like a bank. And one of my things was like, do you still live in the Stone Age and use hand tools and use cash? I'm going to get canceled for that, man.
What, for using cash?
Using hand tools.
Oh, using hand tools. Yeah, but you'll just get, well, maybe. Who knows? Maybe somebody will come after you for that because there are a lot of people who would get deeply offended by anybody insulting hand tools.
Right. And I also made an insinuation during the video. I was like, oh, this like bank service thing can connect. And this is not an ad for them. I'm just saying. This bank service can connect to all these different things. And I like list off like, Shopify, QuickBooks, whatever. And then I'm like, and more. And I wink at the camera. I asked Miranda, I was like, what do you think? She's like, to me, it seems like you're saying it connects to like OnlyFans or like something sexual like that. I was like, perfect. That's exactly what I was going for.
Nailed it. When I did that bank thing, I had to, well, I didn't have to, but I went and I actually got the card that I was advertising because that way I could say that like this is my card and like their legal team was like very strict. It's like if he doesn't have the card, he cannot imply in any way that it's his card when he's like holding it up, which was interesting.
I hadn't. For people listening, I'm sorry if you hear chewing. I'm trying to eat dinner real quick while we're doing this. But
just trying to sneak in a quick dinner while podcasting.
right, it's what everybody's here for. But so I had to do the bank ad, and like one of their things were like, well, we need the ad in like 9 days or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, you need to be holding the card during the thing. And I was like, well, first off, like, just send me a blank one. And they're like, no, just sign up for an account. I was like, I don't need another business checking account.
Yeah.
Like, just for this ad. Like, I'm sure it's great service, but I don't need it. Like, I'm already set up. Like,
I wonder if that's like the advertising agency padding out their numbers to the bank. They're like, hey, we got you at least one sign up for this card.
Right.
That
But
you
then
can attribute directly to the ad.
See, that's the beauty of having Mark and his team as my agent. He texted me. He was like, hey, they want you to have a card. And I was like, dude, hell no. He was like, all right, I'll fight it. And I didn't have to deal with it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
great.
perfect. I like that.
Right. Well, speaking of people that we want to fight with, we have new patrons this week.
I know, we sure do.
Got some Rigid fans coming in. We got Ken Daliege. Again, this is the beauty of being a patron, is we will absolutely murder your name. We've got Geoffrey Watson. We've got To Custom Graphics and Woodworks with an X. Oh, hold on. We've got Martins. So there are multiple people. Martins Stropmanius.
Maybe is it plural or is it ownership?
I don't know. It's got a bunch of punctuation marks, so it's probably like a European name or something. I like it. And then we've got an apprentice, Dan Holly, and hold on to your horses. Patreon decided to stop screwing around telling us who is and who is not a patron. So we got Dadu coming in at a cocker.
Nice.
Right.
Nice.
So that means we got our top tier patrons that are returning, get their name shouted out every episode. We got Dadu, Luke Schmidt, Derek Jennings at Pecantry Designs, Corey Duvall, Jason Price at Priceless Pro Designs, Scott Eastman at Eastie's Woodshop.
Whew. That's going to be a
what else?
long list.
I know. If it gets too long, we'll have to read it at the end or something.
Yeah. Did we do like a particularly good episode last week? Because it seems like we got a lot of new patrons.
I think last week was the one where we talked about eating a dental hygienist.
Oh, that was a good one. That must be why. You know what? It's all those anti-dental hygienist people. They're like, these guys are speaking my language.
We got to support these guys. But you know what's most exciting?
What's that?
The Power Cocker, formerly known as Wes, is
he back?
back.
Oh, thank God.
So
I didn't know what I was going to do without him.
I know. I talked to him. What happened is he was downtown in London. And, people were getting a little loud. People were getting angry. They were fighting. And one of the rules of being a wizard is that you can't do magic in the presence of muggles.
Yes, correct.
So he actually spent a few weeks in Azkaban prison.
I see. Yeah, I saw a documentary about that whole wizarding thing in London.
Yeah, it was like 8 movies, I think.
Yeah. It was like a Ken Burns documentary on wizardry.
Yeah. But so that's where Wes was, but he's back.
Nice. Well, I'm glad he's back. It felt weird not having the Power Cocker, formerly known as Wes, to call out on every episode.
I love it. And so those are all of our patrons. They support the podcast because we don't make any money off of this if we don't have patrons. If you want to get your name read, get access to the after show, which is basically another podcast. And later it's been longer than the regular podcast.
Last week it was like an hour and 20 minutes or something. The regular show was 55 minutes.
Right. We've had, but like the last several have been substantially longer.
I know. Well, we just get on a roll. We got stuff to talk about.
But if you want to join, just go to patreon.com/offthecutpodcast. And it's in the description. You can find it. Just Google it. Or if you're a freeloader, that's cool too. We don't mind. We're just happy you're here.
Also, patrons get access to our private Discord server.
Yes.
Which has been popping off lately. We've had a lot of good chats going on over there. So shout out to the Discord people.
And we finally got our merch thing situated. I know we talked about that last week, but
yes,
everybody stay patient. Your merch is coming. Patreon just royally effed it up.
What is... All right, let's not get... I don't want to get into Patreon and how much it sucks right now. You know what I am legitimately excited for?
Workbench.
Workbench. We're going to meet in person for the first time in a couple days.
So I got to ask Zach. Do you think you're going to be the big spoon or the little spoon?
You know what? I've spent a lot of my life being the big spoon. I would like to feel the security and the comfort of being the little spoon.
I'm in. I'm in.
You got us a room with one king size bed, correct?
I got us a room with one twin bed.
Perfect. It's just a room with one pull-out couch.
That's all we need. I'm gonna sleep right on the bar too, the one that goes mid back.
Or did you get the jacuzzi tub that's shaped like a heart?
You bet. I got the presidential suite.
Perfect. I actually stayed in a hotel room once that had a jacuzzi right in the room. Was not shaped like a heart, but had the jacuzzi like right next to the bed. It was fantastic.
I did too, and we didn't use it.
Really?
Yeah.
Sophie and I were very excited. We were like, we're going to put a movie on the screen above the bed. It was at a ski hill, so we went skiing during the day.
Ooh.
And then we came back, we had a jacuzzi, watched a movie. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
I think we had a little bit of bubbly.
A little bubbly? Oh,
yeah.
Oh, yeah. We just we got back, and then it was just like, well, I'm time to go to bed. And I was like, all right, well, not going to be able to use it, but, it was a thought to count. It was a sentiment, Yeah. It was a sentiment.
It was funny because it was like this hotel that had been clearly a pretty nice hotel at some point in its life, but it was well past its prime. And we got there and we checked in, and they're like, you know what? You guys are nice people. We're going to give you a free room upgrade to one of the jacuzzi rooms. And I was like, oh boy, this is going to be great. And it was.
What probably happened is they had you in room 212. But they're like, they see Zach and Sophie coming in. They're like, hi, I'm Zach from Zach Builds. I'm here to sign in for my hotel room. And they're like, and you got Debbie at the front desk, and Debbie's like, types your name in, and then it like pops up, like blinks on the screen. Crime scene. Do not enter. And so they're like,
suicide last night.
Right. Yeah. Somebody got murdered in the hotel room last night.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you know what, Zach, you're famous. We're going to give you a free upgrade. And you're like, oh my gosh. But really, they just didn't want you to get in that hotel room and then post all over social media that there had been a murder in Savannah.
That seems like a very likely explanation, because I would have done. Like, had I got to my room and there was just blood everywhere, I probably would have talked about it.
I want something to happen. Like, I haven't had a good hotel experience where I walk in and like you have just like a crazy story. And I don't know if I've ever really had a crazy hotel story.
I had one. So I rented an Airbnb. So you know how a couple weeks ago I went on my ice fishing trip with a bunch of my buddies?
Yeah.
A couple years ago we did the same trip, rented an Airbnb. We get there. The place is, first of all, it looked like a crack house. It had really nice photos, but we get there and it's like, it's a psychotic person's house because there's no furniture except for like one 2-seater couch. And so we do the thing what you do when you get to an Airbnb with your friends. You go around and everybody starts claiming their rooms. So I open the door to one room. I'm like, what the hell? This is a bedroom, but there's no bed in here. So it was like a 3 or 4 bedroom place, and in all the bedrooms, there was only one bed. So my friend goes and claims that one. Come out to the main area. It's freezing in there. We're we're fiddling with the thermostat. Of course, it's the middle of February, so it's really cold. We're fiddling with the thermostat, trying to get heated up. And my one friend has this great idea. He's like, hey, let's let's turn on the oven and
God.
just leave the doors of the oven open. It's like, yeah, well, it's an electric heater. I guess that'll work. So we do that, and immediately we smell burning, the worst smell you've ever smelled, burned, and we see mice scurrying along the floor. So I think there was a mouse house inside the oven, and when we turned it on, it burned some of the mouse poo or the mouse bedding or whatever it was, and it stank up the whole place. So we had to open all of the windows and doors to this place. Meanwhile, it's like minus 20 outside. We're already freezing, but we couldn't live with this awful stench of burning mouse. So that's my hotel horror story.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But you're so right that sometimes you check into Airbnbs and like you get in there and you're like, there's a TV with all the cords hanging down.
Yeah.
Nobody
manages cords.
No, there's a DVD player just like it's not even touching the ground. It's just hung up by the cords.
Yes.
There's like one like folding lawn chair, and they're like,
that is so accurate.
Look at our living room. You're like, what?
What the hell? You proudly rent? You charge money to have people stay here? It's so insane.
Like you said, glorified crack house.
Yes, yeah, exactly. And then you know what the worst part about the whole thing was? We're getting ready to. It's Sunday. We're all packing up. We're getting ready to go. My friend gets a prompt on his phone to rate his Airbnb experience. I'm like, okay, dude, you got to skewer these guys. So you got to go like a -5 stars. He's like, you know what? We had a good time. Boop, 5 stars. And then he walks away. I was like, oh, this is what's wrong with millennials.
Right. Here's my thing. I think that people misuse the 5-star system.
Yes, everybody.
A 3-star in my mind should be
average.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I had no cons, but I wasn't blown away. A 4-star should be like, Zach, I went to this place. It was pretty nice. You got to check it out.
When I got there, the person upgraded me to jacuzzi suite for free. That's a 4-star.
There was a murder in my hotel, right?
That's a 4-star.
That would be
experience.
A 4-star. A 5-star would be like, you showed up, and out of nowhere they were like, "Oh, you guys are here for your anniversary. We'll put a complimentary shark cutlery board in your room with a case of wine." And then they upgrade you and they give you all this stuff, and like nicest people in the world they're like, you know what, breakfast is usually not complimentary, but we got you covered. Like for me, a 5-star review, like you got to blow me away. Agreed.
But you know what the flip side of that too is if Sophie's like trying to find a place for us to eat dinner, and she's like, okay, this Thai place, there's this Thai place, there's this Indian place. I'll be like, okay, give me the rating for the place. And if it's anything lower than like 4.8, I'm like, no, not going there. That place is going to be horrible. So I do understand why people are heavy on the 5-star ratings, but still, that's not how it works. Like 3 stars should be average. 4 is exceeded my expectations, and then 5 is just like blew me away.
Right. And like for me, a 2-star would be like, the place was fine. There was a couple things that could have been improved. A 1-star, it was like
they tried to kill me when I got there.
Yeah. They let me in that hotel room that had been murdered. And then when I asked to change rooms, they said, nah, we're booked.
Yeah. Have you ever seen the horror movie Hostel?
Oh, have I? All 3 of them.
Exactly. That's a 1-star experience right there.
Yeah. But in the common rating scheme, if you basically got cast into the movie Hostel, people would be like, oh, that's a 4-star.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't meet my expectations, but I didn't die. I escaped with a severed Achilles tendon.
Nothing is worse in a horror movie than when somebody has their Achilles tendon sliced.
Oh yeah,
it's immediately like a visceral feeling for me. I like check the backs of my legs. I'm like, oh, am I okay? Am I okay?
Right. Should we reenact that scene for people who haven't seen it?
Oh, I don't know if I remember enough to reenact.
Okay. So the premise of this hostel movie is these people go vacationing in Europe. They stay in a hostel, which is effectively just like a giant dorm room. And then they get abducted and whatever, and all these rich people basically pay to like kill these people. So this one dude gets strapped down to a chair, and this guy takes some sort of sharp implement and like cuts his Achilles tendon and then unstraps him. It's just like, you're good to go. So naturally he stands up and then his ankle just goes.
Is that what would really happen? I wonder.
I don't know.
I guess we'll find out this weekend at Workbench.
Yeah. Which, by the way, we need to test your elevator theory.
Yes, we need to test my elevator theory. Here's another theory that I've wanted to test for a while that maybe we'll get an opportunity to test this weekend. I've heard of this thing called the credit card trick when you check into hotel rooms.
Okay.
So basically, when you check into a hotel room, they ask you for your credit card and your ID.
Yeah.
So the trick or the hack or whatever, or the scam, if you will, is you fold up $20 bill, $50 bill, you put it between the two cards, you hand it to the person, you say, here you go. By the way, do you have any free room upgrades available? And that little folded up 20 or 50 is a bribe for the person behind the counter who can then upgrade you to whatever room they see fit.
You want to try it?
I kind of do. I've always wanted to try it, but I've never been ballsy enough to actually go for it.
But so here's my only issue with that. Is that so you and I got a 2-queen room. If they upgrade us, I mean, Zach, you're a nice guy and all. I just don't know if I want to be sharing a bed with you. Like if we get like the honeymoon suite and we get the heart-shaped jacuzzi.
That's true. Well, what about if we get like a suite where we each get our own bedroom?
Well, that'd be nice.
I know, right?
Do you think is this hotel nice enough to have that?
I think so. If it's at the same place it was a couple of years ago when I went, which I think it is.
It's like connected to the convention center still.
Yeah. I bet they probably have a couple nice little suites in there.
I don't know. I mean, I'm down to try it.
Okay.
What if we're just out $20 though? Business expense, write it off.
Yeah, write it off. These big companies are writing everything off.
I think I got a 20 in the wallet.
All right.
Give them the Canadian 20. They won't know what to do.
They won't know what to do with it. What is this, Playmobil money or Monopoly money?
You're like, get out of here, you scum.
So I'm going to have to hide that I'm Canadian all weekend. It's going to be tough.
I can't wait for the classic game of, wait, what's your real name? And, oh, you're shorter than I imagined. That's everybody's favorite game.
Yeah. I've actually had the opposite experience. Everybody I've met in real life has said, oh, you're much taller than I expected based on your videos. And I always say that, well, I have short man energy, so that's why.
So. Idiot. So, believe it or not, like we were talking in the main or the pre-show on YouTube, the live stream, which anybody can watch.
That's right. Actually, it's a great opportunity to listen to the podcast early because we record these live on Tuesday night, and then it actually doesn't get posted until Saturday.
Which, by the way, you think you're going to get it edited in time to post before we go to Workbench?
Yeah, I'll try and do it tonight. Right. I'll try and do it tonight. It'll be real quick because tomorrow I'll be packing and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
But anyway, so I was saying that, believe it or not, I actually watched your most recent video. And
I know. I saw your comment. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. So I thought it was really interesting. Like the entire time I was watching it, I was like, dude, you make such a good point.
Right? Okay, so, thank you. I was unsure if people would follow my argument. I tried to I wrote the script for that video like 4 or 5 times, like trying to refine it and make it more clear. I was like, I really want people to kind of catch my drift here.
So the way I felt is because it was literally how I felt, because I started with Ryobi tools. And then as I was like, I'd really like something like a little more guts to it, a little more, or whatever.
But not rigid.
Yeah, but no, hell no, not rigid. I was like, well, I already have like so many batteries. I was like, well, either I keep buying Ryobi tools and I'm unsatisfied with it, or I just ditch them all together and get something new because I don't want 2 battery platforms. But if you were to tell me, oh, Eric, the rigid or the Ryobi tool batteries that you have will work for rigid and Milwaukee, I would go, great. I'll
Perfect.
keep my Ryobi tools.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I need something with a lot of power, I'll buy the Milwaukee. But when I just need like, a little whatever, like a hot glue gun, I'll have the Ryobi. And
Exactly.
now I can have tools in like that whole spectrum.
Mm-hmm. And all coming from one parent company, because I don't know, we've talked about this, but just for everybody at home, Rigid, Milwaukee, and Ryobi are all owned by the same parent company, TTI.
Right.
So you would essentially be locked into one company, but different brands.
Right.
So you would have an incentive to keep buying TTI tools. But the point I wanted to make in the video is that a lot of people, when they get to that upgrade point, when they're at that point of like having the Ryobi tool, you then have to make a choice. Or when you have the Ryobi tools, you want to upgrade to something else, you have a choice to make. And a lot of the time when you make that choice, you're not going to end up upgrading to Rigid or Milwaukee.
I could have gone DeWalt.
You could have gone DeWalt. You could have gone Festool. I mean, you kind of did go Festool. But, and at that point, you now have a new battery platform in your workshop, and all your future tool purchases, you're going to have to make a choice. Do I want to go with the Ryobi batteries, or do I want to go with my new DeWalt tool platform?
And it's like, you made a fantastic, point in the video. It's like, oh, well, their thought is if I make them buy another battery, then we're going to increase profits. But it's just like, only if that person decides to stay with your brand.
Yeah, which is a pretty big if. Like, I don't know a lot of people who go Ryobi to Milwaukee or Ryobi to Rigid. I've known a ton of people who started out with Ryobi stuff, and then they end up with, like we were saying, like DeWalt, or I'm trying to think, like, what are some other...
Or Bosch, or Makita.
Yeah, Bosch, Makita.
Flex
like
thing, or whatever the hell it is.
Exactly.
Metabo.
There are so many different options out there that they could land on. It's almost unlikely that they'll end up sticking with Milwaukee or Rigid in that, in that scenario.
It's a gamble because, like you said, the average, like, I didn't know this until I got into the industry. I had no idea that all of the power tools were owned by like controlling companies.
Yeah, exactly. They try and hide it from you, and I'm like, why hide it? Like, embrace it. Like, make it evident to customers that it's a whole family of tools, and have have something where all the dust collection boots are uniform across all the tools, or something like that, so that people, or accessories that you buy for Craftsman tools also work on DeWalt tools, or something like that. Have people be able to buy into like a whole family of brands.
I honestly think, from an end user standpoint, if you were to market to me, even now, hey, Ryobi tools are for the weekend like hobbyist fixing things around the house. Mm-hmm. Rigid tools are like that. Hey, I'm starting to kind of get into this, and I really like it. But then my Milwaukee tools, those are like are you on the job site 24/7? You need this, and like make it like extreme pro. Because as a guy, and this, Zach, if you walk into a store and like you see something that's like, oh, that's cute, that's for like the weekend woodworker, even if you don't need it, you're going to be pressured to buy the more premium version because it's more manly.
For sure. 100%.
Right?
Yeah, that's how men are stupid, but that's how we all work.
And you can probably increase your prices.
Oh, for sure. 100%. They could increase the prices of individual tools, and then just, if all the batteries were universal, because like, if you didn't have to buy a new battery to purchase a new it's so wordy to do this every time, but again, if you're a Ryobi user and you want to upgrade, if you have to then buy a Milwaukee battery to use with your Milwaukee tool, you're going to be more price conscious than if you could reuse your Ryobi batteries. If you had more free cash, you'd be more willing to buy the premium tool.
Of course.
Yeah. So
here's my question. If you, in a hypothetical situation, you ran TTI, so you had all three of those, Ryobi, Rigid, Milwaukee. And again, we know that there are other tool companies. I just think, for the sake of discussion, we're just going to bring it to these three. How would you market, brand, color, delineate your battery platform so that people understood that they worked for all three?
Well, that's a good question. You would have to invest in a little bit of branding because in the video I talk about how Bosch is doing the Power for All Alliance, where they're having a unified battery platform for like 10 different brands of tools or something like that. Kind of. Yeah, we'll get into the caveats of that later because that's a bit of a mess. But it's kind of clever because they're almost treating the batteries like they're their own brand. And coming up with a name for them, a kind of a logo for them, a little signifier so that people are aware. And I think it's just about training the customer at the end of the day. Like you are going to have to invest a little bit of money into letting people know that, hey, you can use your Ryobi batteries with your Milwaukee tools. But again, I think that's going to pay dividends in the form of longer term customers who are more committed to the brand.
No, you're absolutely right. I don't know.
Yeah,
It seems like a challenge. Like I really truly think both sides have a very, very valid point.
I think it's a challenge now because they've dug themselves into this weird hole. Like they would have to spend money to get themselves out of the position that they've got themselves in.
Right.
But I think it would be worth it long term. It's like one of those. It'd be an investment for the future of all three brands.
I feel like I had a breakthrough thought.
Oh yeah.
Oh, here's what I was wondering. Do you think that tool companies do more sales to people like you and I? I mean, you use tools more than I do. Mm-hmm. But in general, to people like you and I who use their tools fairly frequently and in a professional manner, or do you think the larger market share is for people who just periodically buy a tool here and there and like kind of somewhat use it on the weekends?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it would probably largely depend on the tool. Like,
right.
I think tool companies probably sell a ton of drills.
Oh, okay. Okay, valid.
To everybody. But, once they start getting into like circular saws and stuff like that, I don't know.
Or an SDS drill.
Or an SD, yeah. Like I don't know, the more specialized the tool, the less likely they are to sell to weekend warriors, right?
Which then it almost would make sense for like the specialty tools. Like, okay, why do you have a Ryobi SDS drill?
Well, I know that, yeah, this is a great point. Like, why are there and the tool companies, if they did adopt this, this hypothetical system where they're sharing batteries, then they could better segment the brands that they do have. They could be like, the Ryobi tools are like the general ones, like the ones that people buy and they, maybe keep in their closet. And then, you get into the more specialized stuff with Rigid, and then you get into the really high-end stuff with the Milwaukee. And you could stop having like how many different impact drivers does does TTI have across all their brands?
Probably 20, 25.
Because each brand has like 5 or 6 different versions of it, right? And it's like, you don't need that many SKUs. Like, you could have a much simpler inventory system if you were willing to adopt this platform. I didn't even include that in the video, but that's great.
It's confusing.
It's very confusing. I mean, that'll be my next rant video that I make, is that power tool companies need to get their naming conventions together, and they're like, just clean up their product stacks in general.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about this,
thing, right?
Yeah, we've talked about this, forever. It's like you go into a store, and honestly, like DeWalt and Milwaukee are the worst at this. Go into the store, look at a circular saw, tell me which is the best one. You can't.
It's impossible. You have to know their code. Like the best DeWalt tools have a XR somewhere on them. That's not even really true.
What about the FlexVolt one?
Exactly, right? Because they've created this thing that's above the XR. You're right. It's ridiculous. Nobody knows. You have to be
735 is now old, but the 727 is now better. But it's a lower what? It's a lower number.
Oh yeah. Like DeWalt just released this impact driver. Their new impact driver is the DCF 840, and that replaces the DCF 850, I think. It's like okay,
that doesn't make any sense.
I know.
It's a nightmare.
the DCF 850 replaced the DCF 888. So, like,
It's
go figure.
yeah, I don't know. So I have another question about tools, and
Okay.
this is something that, well, I wanted to bring it up earlier, but I was under NDA, so I couldn't say it. So when we were at the festival event, where they were like, talking to us or whatever, and they were talking about new tools coming out, and they're like, yeah, and like there's some tools that we have coming out that we don't have here tonight, like the exoscale. Never mind. So like somebody slipped up, and I was like, oh, the exoskeleton, because I've seen other brands already show like what am I trying to say, like demo beta versions of it, right?
Okay. Like, what, you mean like a full human exoskeleton?
Hold on. So you really haven't heard about this?
Well, I know what an exoskeleton is. Like, I've seen sci-fi movies in the past.
Okay. So then I was like, yeah, I don't think I can say anything about this. But
Okay.
then I saw that the Festool, like the main like German page, posted about it like yesterday or today. So I was like, okay, the world knows about it. I can say it now.
Okay.
So what it is it's this like backpack thing that like supports your arms. So it's like battery powered and like supports your arms. But here's my genuine question, because I don't work in the trades all day.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something that would actually be, one, would it be valuable? Two, is it just going to get in the way and be a pain in the ass? And three, are they making up problems that don't actually exist?
I think it's kind of a solution in search of a problem. However, I will caveat that by saying, I think in some commercial applications, something like this might be worth it. Like, say you worked in building high rises and you're just doing drywall sanding all day long. Like 9 a.m. you clock in, you grab your Festool sander and you start sanding until 5 p.m. at night. In that case, maybe something like this would make sense. But honestly, I think most tradespeople in residential construction would kind of laugh at you the second you put one of these on. I'm looking at the photos of it right now.
Are you on the Festool one?
Yeah, I'm looking at the Festool one specifically right now.
So their main photo, I think it's funny you said that, was somebody wearing the exoskeleton backpack thing with a drywall sander. Exactly.
Because I will say, like, I've used their drywall sander all day before, and at the end of the day, your arms are burning. It's, you're essentially holding up, 15, 20 pound wand above your head for 8 hours a day. It can get pretty tedious. That being said, though, like, I don't know, like, I use my drywall sander a couple times a year.
Sure.
And for like, maybe a week or two at a time. And it's like, I don't know. It would be really, I'm sure this exoskeleton thing is probably going to cost a small fortune.
That's what I was going to say. How much do you think it is?
Oh, I'm looking at the photos of it and knowing that it's Festool, I'm thinking like $4 or $5 grand.
That's what I would assume as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. I honestly don't know.
Oh, I see it.
Oh, they got a price?
$2,700.
Okay. Cheaper than I thought, so good for them.
It says scheduled to release sometime in October in the Netherlands, and the price is expected to be around 2,500 euros, which roughly equates to 2,700 US dollars.
Okay. So, I know it's expensive. Right now, Festool has like a harness that you can buy, and there's like, basically there's like a cup that goes right where a cup would go in sports. And the idea is that you can kind of like rest. I think that's the way it works. You rest the end of the sander in the cup, and then it kind of like, it takes the weight off your arms and it kind of puts it on your pelvis, I guess. Huh.
Where I first saw this thing was with Hilti is making.
Yeah, I saw Hilti. Yeah, Hilti's got a photo here. What are the application did they see it? Oh,
I don't
sorry.
know. But I guess my question with this, because I've seen a couple other brands bring out like, I'm blanking on the word. What do they call it? Prototype models. Mm-hmm. I've seen several brands do it. And are they just are they making up a problem that doesn't exist?
Yeah. I mean, they must know better than I do. I'm having a really hard time seeing a big target market for this.
Right.
Like I can imagine maybe there's like 100 people in the world who would want to buy one of these exoskeleton things.
But you better believe if I can get my hands on the demo version, I'm going to try.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, I mean, if you get your hands on a demo version, I'm going to fly down. I'm going to test it out too.
Yeah.
Because I'm curious.
But you
But-
know that like like halitosis, like it's like the disease quote that they call like bad breath.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
You know that was invented by Listerine
Ooh, really?
to sell mouthwash. Yeah.
Oh.
So like that's what I'm saying. Are these tool companies making up a problem that doesn't exist to sell something?
Yeah. They may very well be. They may very well. Like, what else would you use this with other than the drywall sander? Like, you don't need an exoskeleton to like use an impact driver or a sawzall or anything.
And maybe if you're like working above your head and stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I really have a hard time seeing this actually legitimately speeding somebody up on a job site.
Like, so Hilti, what kind of tools do they make? They're like concrete saws and like stuff.
A lot of concrete stuff, like a lot of SDS for drilling into concrete. A lot of like they have a whole line of like epoxy tools, like for like doweling steel into concrete. You can use like an epoxy to set a steel rod into concrete.
So it's more like structural concrete, civil engineering type tools.
Correct. I think they also have a powder actuated nail gun, which I've always wanted to try. It's like a nail gun that can shoot nails into concrete.
Really?
So it's actually got like gunpowder that bangs the nail into the substrate. It's kind of cool.
How does a nail in concrete stay in place? Is it like ring shank nail?
It must be some sort of ring shank nail. Either that or it just drives it in there so hard that I don't know, like melts the concrete or something.
That's weird. That is weird.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, yeah, I don't know. They're making up problems that don't exist.
I mean, they must something like this wouldn't be cheap to develop. Like this must have had a whole team of people working on it for a couple of years. So I assume they've done some market research to know. Like one of their images here of somebody using this exoskeleton is with a paint roller.
But why wouldn't you just spray it? If you have that much paint to do, just spray, right?
But why would you ever need an exoskeleton to hold up a paint roller? The paint roller is like 2-3 pounds.
But is it one of those things like if you're doing a job where you're continually like working with like your arms above your head that just get some extra support or something?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so, but I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm from a generation of tradespeople who just suck it up, buttercup. Yeah, just come on, shut up and get to work.
Right.
But I don't know. Yeah.
So I have an announcement to make. People are going to be thrilled. Well, there's a potential that dining table video, I think, is going to be my next video that comes out.
Oh, I'm excited for that one.
Yeah.
So what's the runtime? It's still sitting around 45 minutes?
It's at 45 minutes before the ad.
I like it.
So add an extra minute or so.
Yeah.
I think he just texted me and he was like, hey, I know you said you wanted to put out March 31st. It looks like they're trying to slot this for April. Would you be down for April 1st? I was like, sure.
Yeah,
I don't care.
That's fine.
Ideally, I would like to have a video roughly about once a month.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want it to be like, oh, I put one out today and then 2 days later have another one, but then you don't see another one of my videos for 3 months. Like,
yeah.
You want to keep like a space.
Some sort of even flow. Man, I'm fighting with a sponsor right now. I'm like, they really want me to like get it out April 1st.
Squarespace?
No, I'm almost done with my Squarespace contract. It's that the wireless microphone that I was showing you before.
Oh, yeah.
They really want it like early April. I'm like, trust me, you want me to spend more time on. You don't want me to rush the video.
Give them a rush fee.
Yeah, I guess. I'm so burnt out. I just want a little bit of time off.
Or no?
Like, I just want one project where I can, like, I want to finish a video and then take, like, 2 or 3 days to just think about how I could make it better.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, because have you ever had this where you, like, publish a video and then you rewatch it and you're like, why did I include that scene? Like, that scene is
Right.
so useless.
That's what I say about every scene in my videos. I'm like, this
Well,
whole
that's the
video
thing.
is useless.
Yeah, I think like it's good to finish something and like not immediately export it and upload it. Like I want to like take the time, have a breath, like be like, okay, now come back to it and almost like start again, or like
Right.
how can I rework this to do
Right.
it better?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. It's really hard to do that when you have a sponsor breathing down your neck. Like we got to get the video out right away.
Yeah, that's why I work about a year and a half ahead.
Yeah, smart.
So I'm almost considering like, can I rewatch that 45-minute long dining room table build I have?
Mm-hmm.
Can I stretch it out even further?
Yeah, you want to go further as opposed to shorter?
I want to see if I can get a video to hit an hour. You think anybody would actually watch that though?
Yeah, I mean, oh, for sure, some people would.
Right.
It's just would it be? Yeah, it's how many people would watch it. I don't know. It's an interesting question. I think as long as you can keep it entertaining for like, as long as there's not like dead air, essentially. Like,
Right,
you
right.
could just insert a whole like 15 minutes of just silence in the middle of your video if you wanted to really just pad it out for the sake of padding it out. But
Me
obviously,
brushing
you know
my
that.
teeth or blowing my nose or something.
Yeah, exactly. Show you like putting on your shoes and then taking them off and putting on your flip flops.
Oh, I got to do another scene of me cutting wood without shoes on again because that always really fires people up.
Oh, I bet.
You know what's wild though is that even my videos that like I've been screwing around. Oh, somebody's car alarm's going off. Burglary.
They got to it pretty quick.
Yeah, they're good. Even these videos that I've been doing where I've been changing up the thumbnails and stuff, and the ones that are just like literally going straight up to the moon. My average watch time is like 20%, which is unbelievably low, but they keep pushing it.
I think that's kind of a consequence of having a higher click-through rate. Because I've noticed like a lot of my videos, the higher the click-through rate, generally the lower the watch duration, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you have a lot of people, especially when you do an asinine title that has no description of what the video is about, right? Like people start watching the first 30 seconds like, oh, I don't want to see a video about a dining room table. Like I'm going to click off.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's kind of a risk. The less informative the title, the more likely people are to just bounce from the video right away.
But it seems like the more likely people are to click on the video too, which
yeah.
I'll be the first one. I hate how I have to title my videos, but it works.
Yeah.
But I hate it.
I've gotten so much hate for my titles lately, but it's like, but it's work. Like, you know, like even the people who are like, oh, this like video title was such clickbait. It's like, but you clicked it. Like,
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
I still always talk about what the title is.
What do you mean you talk? Oh, like whatever. Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Like where I was like, I don't know why people still do this. In the video, I was like, I don't know why people still stain stuff. It looks terrible.
Yes, exactly. Like you do fulfill on the promise.
Yeah,
it's not like you're just like you're saying this is a video about Megan Fox stripping naked, and then they click on it, and it's like a video of you doing woodworking.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I've fallen prey for that before.
That specific example?
It's something similar. But you were gonna say something earlier before I interrupted you.
Yeah, well, I listened, or I read a book today. No, I listened to a book while I was working that I thought was, third grade level.
Okay.
It's a good book, and I think it would be handy for a lot of aspiring content creators.
Okay.
It's called, let's see if I can, I'm just pulling it up on my phone right now. I'm pretty sure it's called How to Shoot Video That Doesn't Suck.
I think I've read that. Is it 4, 5, 6 hour listen? Kind of short?
Yeah, 6.5 hours.
Okay.
On the short side.
One of the tips they talk about is like, don't have a scene for 45 seconds. Like keep the scenes moving and stuff like that.
Yes.
I've read that one.
Yeah.
Good book.
Yes. So yeah, it's good. It does a lot of like basics about, I don't know, kind of film theory, I guess would be a good way to describe it.
But not super
But just
boring.
yeah, and it's broken up into very short chapters. So it's like the book is like 70 chapters, even though it's only
Right.
250 pages.
Right.
And each one's just like a very small lesson on how to make better videos.
Right on.
Yeah. So anybody looking to start a YouTube channel, highly recommend. I think it's a good use of your time to listen to or read it.
I dig it. Well, I think I have to plug this because I plugged our podcast like crazy. I was on the Another Wood Shop pod. I don't know what the hell
Doesn't
the
even know the
title was.
name. Hopefully they don't listen to our podcast.
No, it's the one that Dan Dunlap, Peter Kapar, and Mike Coffey do. I think, is that the name? Another Wood Shop? Is that Another Wood Shop podcast or Woodworking podcast? I don't know. The idea is that the name's supposed to be like funny and kind of ironic, right?
Yes.
Well, I was a guest on their show last week, and I just kept plugging our podcast. I was like, you can also get Off the Cut podcast on Spotify and Apple.
Nice. I like it. I'll have to listen to that.
Yeah, I figured I'd give them a plug.
Oh, I see a counter plug. We
Right.
should see. I met Mike Coffey for the first time at Workbench Con. Maybe we can have him as a quick guest. I'll see if I can bring all the recording gear and we can do some quick podcasts while we're there.
That's what I was going to ask. Do you want me to bring my laptop and mic, and then we'll just, because I can always set my mic up as like if we sit at a table, I can like set it up in the middle and like do the 360 recording or something.
I was thinking to just bring my little Rode Wireless Go things.
How many you got?
I have 2. You have 1.
How do we like sync them all on the same thing?
Yeah. Okay. I didn't think that far ahead.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'd say, I'll just bring my laptop and mic, and then we'll figure it out once we're there.
Let's just bring as many laptops and mics as possible, and we'll sort.
I'll bring the wireless
hotel
ones
room.
too. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that'll work.
Actually, you know what? I have those other ones I have for that sponsored video. So technically, I would have 4 altogether.
What if we have like a 3.5 millimeter splitter?
Oh yeah.
So you could run 2 receivers or something?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Look at us troubleshooting on the fly.
We should work in IT.
Yeah.
Work in IT.
I ordered one of those card thingies, the Tappy card or whatever it's called. What's it called?
Dot.
The Dot. So Dot doesn't ship to Canada, which was kind of annoying. So I had to order from another company, and unclear whether or not it'll arrive in time for Workbench Con. It says it's in the mail, so maybe I'll get it tomorrow and I'll be able to bring it. Maybe not.
Mine took forever. Mine does work, but I also made QR codes that I could put on like the back of my badge. So like if somebody
Nice.
doesn't scan it, I can just like flip my badge over and be like, there you
I
go.
like that. I got
But it kicks you to the same website.
I got one that's a card, and then I got 5 that are just stickers. They're like RFID stickers that you can put anywhere.
Right.
And so same idea. I guess it's an NFC sticker, not an RFID.
Right. Yeah. So like how long do those things last? Like several years?
I think, yeah. I mean, until it gets flexed enough that the coil inside of it breaks.
Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think there's a little coil that gets charged up when it gets close to a NFC scanner, and that coil is just
It's
enough to
induction,
power
right?
like a little. Yeah, exactly. It's a little induction coil, and that just powers a very weak transmitter.
That's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's cool
Mine
technology.
works pretty well, but I found that like you have to know where somebody's NFC thing on their phone is.
Gotcha.
So like
I have no idea where it is on my phone.
on my iPhone, it's like right here, which is like right by
Okay.
the camera. So I have it like down here in my case. So I would have somebody have to like tap the bottom
Tap
of my
there.
phone. And
Could
it
you do
seems
like
it works pretty well.
Can you do like a swipe, like where you just like swipe by there, or does it have to be held there for a second?
I don't know. Maybe we can troubleshoot it.
Yeah, we'll
can
test it
test
out.
them.
We'll do that at the same time as we do the elevator thing.
Yeah. Oh, we're gonna have a blast. Well, is it time to get into the after show yet?
I think so.
Wait, hold on. Why don't we see if we got any questions going on in the live chat?
stream. Somebody was asking about your table saw, but I think Josh answered it for you.
Yeah, I just got a Harvey but I had a rigid something or other before. I can build it. I have a Harvey.
Yeah.
Any other questions going on in there? I don't see any question marks.
Craig's enjoying my handheld microphone.
It looks nice. It looks
I don't-
nice.
You could get one too for the low cost of $30.
It's just a stick.
It's literally just a stick that you slide your little Rode wireless Go into, and then a little foam bauble that goes over the top of it.
I think you ought to start doing like ad reads and videos with the microphone. I
With
think
the
that'd be a
microphone?
nice touch.
That would be kind of fun. I'm actually thinking I want to use this for when I'm recording my voiceovers, because I want my voiceovers to sound more laid back. So I'll like lean back in my chair and do it like this.
Yeah. That's how I record mine. I have this same setup, and like I'm leaning back like in the computer chair.
I know the way I have my microphone set up right now is dumb because it's up high. So I
Right.
had to stand and then I had to lean forward, and I find that it gives the voiceover a certain type of energy because I'm like leaning into it almost.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
You're leaning into your video.
Yeah, exactly.
Somebody, I don't remember who mentioned it, but somebody was like, you need to challenge Zach to who can get to 200,000 YouTube subs first.
Ooh.
I was like, dude, I will never win that. Because you're like 175, aren't you?
Somewhere around there, yeah. I think I
What the hell?
I have a decent head start on you, but you're gaining quick. Did you cross 100K yet?
Yeah.
You did. Awesome. Congrats,
Yeah.
man. That's amazing.
Thanks, man. What am I at? I think I'm at like 120 or
Oh man, you might
117.
very well beat me to 200K.
I'm picking up like 25,000 a month.
I did 20 this month, but I had some good shorts, so we'll see.
I've stopped doing shorts. I'm done.
You done?
I did one a day for 2 months, and I'm like, it's stupid. I'm done.
Fair enough.
I didn't get paid any money.
Yeah, I hear you, man. I hear you. It's
It just
very
quarters it
feast
out.
or fam. I find mine either I get like 10,000 views or I get 10 million views, and there's
Nothing in
room
between.
in between. Yeah.
No.
So
And it's just annoying for me to have to try to keep track of which ones I already uploaded, which ones I didn't.
right.
Because on Instagram, I can spam. If I wanted to, I could post the same video every single day for 3 years.
Yeah. I wonder what would happen on YouTube if you posted the same video.
It's flagged. It's one of their
Does it
like
get flagged?
terms of service thing.
Interesting. What if you deleted the old one and then posted it again?
You're probably okay. I don't know.
Interesting.
I know you can get like a strike for it if you habitually post the same video over and over and over again.
Oh, gotcha. Because I had some that did well pre-monetization. I wonder if I should delete those and repost them, but I guess...
Dude, I've totally thought about taking videos like pre-monetization or ones that just tanked
Yeah.
and like kind of reusing the same footage and like, building in quotes the same project, but kind of like talk about it retrospectively or like change the voiceover. Like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on that?
I've had the same thought before. I think it would be kind of fun. I honestly don't know how it would perform. Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question.
Think of a video that's like 2.5 years old.
Yeah, and it's just like think about how much better you could do it now. Like even if you
Right.
reused all the same footage, but just like cut it differently and
Right.
different voiceovers and
Right.
stuff. Yeah, it's really tempting. I thought about redoing as like a gag, almost like redoing my first video ever.
Oh, that would be funny.
Right? Yeah.
But see, your first video is a hell of a lot better than my first video.
Is it? I don't know that it is.
I feel like my first video, I'm like staring like massive eyes, like, hi.
I honestly don't think mine's much better. I didn't do voiceovers. I think the audio was all crap. It
was like just talking to camera.
was just talking to camera.
Huh.
It was literally like me, like, hey, I'm about to apply this finish, and then cut to 30 seconds of me applying the finish. Then cut to me being like, hey, the finish is applied. Now let's move on to the next step.
But here's the thing. Just like me, be honest, when you first made that video, you're like, damn, Zach, you are good at this, dude.
I was like, it goes Steven Spielberg, James Cameron, Zach Builds,
Right.
in that order.
Right.
Everybody else below there.
But that's how everyone feels. Like the first video they put out, they're like, man, this is nice. And then the next video you put out, you're like, man, that other video sucked. And it just gets, it's a skill.
Yeah, it's 100% a skill. I mean, it's the same way you probably feel about your early woodworking projects, right?
It's the same way I feel about my woodworking projects now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's because you keep getting better, right?
Yeah, we're both hacks. We're not woodworkers. We just play one on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of hacks, one of the hacks you can do to help us grow this podcast is share it with your friends.
That's right.
It's maybe that's the only way we can.
Maybe that's why we got new patrons, is because the current patrons have been sharing it so much with their friends.
I don't know. Maybe. I do enjoy how you're using the Squarespace ad as a natural plug for the podcast, though.
Yeah. Squarespace, they did not give me the most money in the world to do those ads.
Right.
But I was like, I will take a little bit of a pay cut on this because it's just such an easy opportunity to plug the podcast.
Was I mistaken that the ad on this most recent video was literally word for word, shot for shot, the same as the other one?
Oh, dude, I'm just copy and pasting.
Oh, and they don't care?
They don't care. They'd be fine with it. I mean, I saw other creators doing it. I was like, my God, I was recording specific integrations for every video. I was like, oh no, I'll just shoot one and I will copy and paste it onto all the videos.
I wondered.
Yeah.
So they didn't say anything.
They haven't said anything about any of the videos. Okay. So
that's good to know if I ever do a Squarespace ad that I can. Because they usually do bundles. They want like 3 to 6 videos typically.
Yeah, they wanted 6 videos from me.
So after you do this microphone one, is this going to be your, like, you can try to take a break from sponsored stuff?
Yeah, or at least just focus on finding sponsors that are like flexible on delivery times and stuff like that.
We should talk this week. Maybe I can get you to chat with Mark and see if it's something that we can talk more of the specifics about how it works, and I can show you some of the numbers and see if it's something you're interested in.
Yeah, definitely.
Get you set up with him.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's a nice thing. Because he just he was like, "Hey, I got this one. Are you interested?" And I'd be like, "No."
Yeah.
And then move on.
Yeah, it's just the time. All these companies are so hard pressed on the time. Like, it has to be done by this day. It's like, really? Does it? It's going to be a video that lives on the internet for the next infinity years. Right. Why is it so important that it's done by this specific date?
Especially I told you that sports thing that I had for the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that was I down to the wire. Okay, I get that, but contact me earlier.
Yeah.
Or don't take forever when I send you my draft. It takes you 6 days to get back to me. That's on you.
I had a company contact me today and hey, we need something for March 20th. They wanted it.
That's reasonable.
Do you think so? I don't know, man. It's
that's why I keep videos in the hopper. So all I have to do is do the ad and then put it out. This
was one where it was an Instagram thing. They wanted me to go film, I don't know, it was 2 reels, and I just got so much other stuff going on. It's I don't want to add that too.
Right.
Anyways, I hit them with a ridiculous sum of money. We'll see if they go for it.
Right. I feel you.
Well, there's no such thing as bad jobs, just bad prices.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I got approached to do a couple things, things that I thought would be cool. I had a local woodworking club reach out and they're like, "Hey, we'd love you. We'd love if you did an hour or 2 long presentation for our club." And I was like, "Whew, that's a lot of work." And they're like, "Yeah, maybe you could talk about glue or talk about how to set up a bandsaw." And I was like, "Yeah. No." Mm-hmm. And I was like, how about this? We do a round table where as opposed to me as, instead of me just standing at the front of the room saying, "I'm a pro, this is how you do it. Listen to me or you're wrong." Because it's not me at all.
Yeah.
I was like, what if we do a round table where just a community thing where people just ask questions, answer it. And they're like, well, that's not really what our members are looking for. And I was like, okay. So I had this conversation with these guys and they had no idea what I did. They were just so how do you make money? They're like, so you sell furniture? I was like, no,
not really.
I make videos. And they're like, But yeah, no, but like, how do you make money?
But where does the money come from, Eric?
Right.
Where does the money come from?
And so, but then they're like, but if you do this, if you do like a 2 hour long keynote presentation, we can give you $100.
Oh,
I
wow.
was like,
That's $50 an hour.
I was like, yeah, but how much time is going to go into like
No, I know.
developing something that's actually meaningful? And I was like, no, like I have to respectfully decline. Like, I think it would be fun, but you have to make it easy for me.
At that point, they're better off just not even paying you. You know what? You know what I mean? Like, come and do it for fun as opposed to this is a paying gig. Because
And then their idea was, well, what if you just play a YouTube video of yours and then people can ask questions? And I said, why don't people just watch the YouTube video at home? I was like, it's free.
yeah, and I mean it's kind of getting you back to your Q&A thing though, which is kind of nice in a weird way. But you have to sit there and watch your own video, which is kind of silly.
I don't want to watch that. And like, and people aren't, it's, why'd you have an ad read during this meeting? Well, it's a video that's on YouTube. I don't want to buy sports betting stuff.
Yeah.
And I also got approached by this other one. They're like, hey, we want you to do this like thing in New York for like a weekend. We want you to do a keynote presentation on Friday.
Okay.
And then an all day hands-on workshop Saturday.
Okay.
They're like, we'll fly you out. We'll give you $200 for Friday.
Oh, big money.
And $400 on Saturday. I was like, no. Like, do you know how much work would go into that?
So much work.
Like weeks of work.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what would we have to pay you? I was like, probably like minimum ballpark, like $5,000. And they're like, I was like, thank you for your interest. Like, you asked me a question. Like, this isn't something I really, really want to do. I don't want to just do a keynote presentation. Like, if you want me to do it, you really got to make it worth my time.
Yeah. It's interesting. I don't know. Like, I think some people get off on the prestige of like doing some sort of public speaking thing to me, but to me that just sounds like a complete nightmare. Like the amount of preparation. Yeah, it's a lot of work to prep for it. It's just I don't know. It doesn't sound that fun.
But if somebody goes, hey, Zach, we're going to do this event with woodworkers and stuff. We just want you to like come hang out for an hour or two and just chat with people. I'd be like, yeah, I'm there. You don't have to pay me anything. I'm there.
Yeah.
So that's what, like, if the woodworking club is like, it's, 15 minutes away. They're like, hey, can you just come for an hour or two and just like hang out at the meeting and just like meet and greet and talk to people? I'd be like, of course.
Yeah. Sounds great.
I would love to, because it doesn't take any prep work.
Yeah.
Like this
the
podcast.
Prep work is, How dare you?
But you know what I mean? Like, this podcast would be a drag if we had to like prep for days and days on end, being like, okay, we're going to come up with this super strict script of what we're going to talk about. And like, we're going to hit all these points, and I'm going to talk about this, but then you're going to talk about this. Like, no, thanks.
No, it's just not fun. The more scripted something is, the less fun it is. Must be a nightmare to shoot movies.
Oh, where they storyboard them out? Like,
yeah.
I don't want to
plan everything ahead of time. Scripted, storyboarded, and then they have people like, oh yeah.
The only thing we do have storyboarded, oh my God, I didn't realize we had this many questions. All right, we got a lot of after show questions, and we had some freeloader questions, but I will save those for next week because we're already well past our time.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So everybody, we're heading over to the after show. We're going to power up the hovercraft in the elevator. We'll be at the after show to answer a bunch of questions. Get questions from people who don't usually give us questions too.
That's my favorite type of question.
Yeah, they heard our threats. Well, everybody, if you want to listen to the after show, where I'm sure we'll probably talk longer than we did here, patreon.com/offscudpodcast. You got anything
See you,
else?
everybody.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right. Go ahead. I'll let you say see ya.
See ya, everybody. That's very nice of you to let me have that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't want to steal your thunder.